through it. Yeah, about half or so. Okay, good. What I like to do is we let you know about another benefit that's available to you as you work here at Kaiser. And we're going to jump into hopefully having some good discussion, having some, my goal for this actually is for you to be able to walk away with some new insight, new tools on communication. And I'll tell you why as well when we talk about presenting problems, and I'll tell you about the Employee Assistance Program. So, that being said, just a quick overview. The Employee Assistance Program is the counseling program for employees and their family members and physicians and their family members, so people that have any kind of challenge in their life, impacting work or home life. What do you think is the #1 issue people come in to talk about? They say, Jim, I'm what?
Stress.
Totally. Totally. Raise your hand if you like to be in control. Okay. Is it sometimes hard to say no? Sometimes? At times, might we be conflict avoiders? Sometimes? Okay. So we kind of just do our job and do the best we can. And the reality is that when we're doing our jobs and we can be doing really well at our jobs, we can get stressed. And we can have stress, and it can be kind of like low stress. But the longer you have even low stress, it feels heavier. So here's my little example. Here is like, whatever, 8 ounces of water, okay? I'm holding it out here. You know, I work out enough, it's not too heavy, you know. By 11 o'clock, if I'm holding this, how's it gonna feel? Heavy. So sometimes what they've actually found is that when people have a stressor in their life, and a lot of times time will just take care of it. You talk to a friend, you talk to a family member, you just kind of work it out yourselves, it goes away. But sometimes we have a stressor in our life, and it's been like a day, then 2 days, then 3 days, then a week or longer. And it means, you know, sometimes it's helpful to have some strategies and tools on dealing with the stressor. Because we're not born with all this insight about how to deal with challenges in our life. So I actually created, Kaiser actually has this internal program where I'm a psychotherapist and help employees have opportunity to talk about their stressors and to talk about strategies on addressing them. So my role though is that I do the clinical work, so I'm the guy here. I'm across from the bank, the Bank of the West, across from the In-N-Out Burger. That's where the emotional eating takes place. Okay. So I do the clinical work at South City, San Mateo, or in Redwood City, and then I manage the programs for half of NorCal, Hawaii, and Oregon. So I get to see all that's going on in those departments, in those medical centers. Here's a wild one. 40% of the health plan members in the Northwest are going to Department of Psychiatry. Yeah, in part because, and this is health plan members, okay, in part because I think the weather, you know, we're pretty lucky, you know, downtown it says weather best by government test. Okay, it actually does, but people are in like gray weather and all that, they get depressed, you know. So, but I get to see what's going on. So stress is #1, and the reason why we're here today, in part, is to talk about communication. So, what happens to communication when people get stressed? One of 2 things tends to happen. So what's the one thing that tends to happen when people get stressed? What might be demonstrated?
Anger.
Anger. It's that acting out. It's I call it the filters open. You know, we have this balloon over our head with all of our thoughts and feelings about everybody in our lives. You know, and you know that's in a balloon for a reason. But sometimes when people get stressed, that balloon gets popped. and they get angry, you know, they get sarcastic, they get, anyway, but it's where they act out. They act out. So if people are not acting out, what might they be doing when they get stressed? Around concerning communication, what happens to communication when people are stressed? If they're not acting out, what might they be doing?
Passive aggressive.
It could be, yeah, which is right in there in that realm of not formally acting out, but still kind of showing it in other ways. What's the other thing people tend to do?
Oh, the voice, getting loud.
Getting loud? Yeah, that's all acting out. Acting out. It usually means there's some fear involved. And if they're not acting out, what might they do? If we're a conflict avoider and we're stressed, what might we do? Shut down.
Shut down.
The two, we're either, when we get stress and communication comes up, we're either shutting down and just kind of like holding those feelings inside, or we might be, acting out. No, we're not always doing one of the two. There's a middle ground here, which is why we're here, actually addressing communication. But the reality is that today we're going to talk about communication. That's the number 2 presenting issue. Stress is number 1, communication is number 2. Probably mood disturbance is number 3. People get anxious or depressed. Relationship issues is up there. But stress and communication. So, I'm Jim, and I've been with Kaiser for, all things, 29 years. I was 29 when I started, and it's been 29, okay? So 29 years. So tell me your name, your role, and how long you've been with Kaiser.
Oh, okay.